Alright, this is West Coast Avengers 46 by Jason Byrne. This is the debut of the Great Lakes Avengers. Today's big question that I famously ask in every video is, Great Lakes Avengers, like 'em or lump 'em? The Great Lakes Avengers are a goofy side team that are introduced here, and they never really went anywhere. They were quickly forgotten about and then only ever get dredged up by funless people trying to pretend to be fun people. The leader of the Great Lakes Avengers is this guy, Mr. Immortal, and of the 5 of them, I think most persons would agree that he is the most classically superhero out of them. His power is that he cannot die, simple enough. And we start with him and the rest of the team attempting to foil a bank robbery. And the rather straight introduction to Mr. Immortal probably also helps the argument that he is the proper superhero among the bunch. The rest of the team, they include Flatman, a less useful budget Mr. Fantasticals, Big Bertha, a supermodel who transforms into a big fat woman and can revert to a supermodel size by sticking her fingers down her throat and sicking up the fat from her body. Oh, that has aged well, hasn't it? We also have Doorman, who is a teleporter. He can create a porthole for himself and others. The clue is in the name. He can create doors, in a sense. And finally, we have Dinosaur, which doesn't sound that different from how I say dinosaur, but it's all in the spelling, mate. She is a pterodactyl that doesn't speak any English, and so we find out very little about her. That there is our team, and it is very easy to say that they are joke characters and they didn't really matter. But what works about the Great Lakes Avengers is the same thing as what works with Frogman, and what doesn't work with a lot of the modern attempts at zany comedy characters or teams. The Great Lakes Avengers, goofy in concept, but the Great Lakes Avengers can be taken as seriously as you want to take them. They never are outright comedy and nothing else. Someone can include the Great Lakes Avengers in a story, and it isn't automatically a comedy story. And they do actually successfully stop the bank robbery here, so it was never the case that they were grossly incompetent like they later become. The thing is that together they didn't have the most useful powers or the experience or even the best motivations for becoming heroes. But at the same time, they are a superhero team in Wisconsin. They didn't have any real aspirations to move to New York land. They are fashioning themselves after the Avengers, except local to Wisconsin and the Midwest. And I do like the idea we get with Hawkeye and Mockingbird. They had departed from the main Avengers team, and here they are thankfully trying to repair their marriage. But they hear about the Great Lakes Avengers on the news, and they set out to track them down. We have a quick cutaway bit with u.s.agent, one of two members of the actual West Coast Avengers team who appear in this issue. And former member Cheetah, she has gone feral, so he slaps her in the face and tells her to stop it, which is a panel that people love to take out of context and pretend u.s.agent slaps women around. But the panel before it was Cheetah clawing and attacking him. I didn't know if slapping her in the face is the right course of action, but he's definitely not hitting her because he thinks it's okay to hit a woman, or because he thinks women never shut up or whatever. We get back to the main story, and the idea is that Hawkeye and Mockingbird, they want to confront this team for adopting and using the Avengers name without permission or without any approval from the actual Avengers. But Hawkeye, he gets to see the team in action and how unorganised and untrained they are. But he sees some potential in them. And since Hawkeye went from leading the West Coast team to not being on any Avengers teams, he starts to see this team as a solution to his current problem. We're still on the point where him and Mockingbird are sort of testing them, the misunderstanding fight part. And Mockingbird, she thinks that she has killed Mr. Immortal by kicking him off a building, but his power is that he cannot die, so she hasn't. He is fine. But yeah, Hawkeye and Mockingbird, they decide that they can whip this team into shape and make them into a proper superhero unit. And it is just a great direction for Hawkeye. This setup doesn't last very long, but there is some stuff done with it. It could have endured a bit longer or had a more satisfying resolution than Hawkeye just showing up on the West Coast Avengers team again. Here, it's Charlotte Witch in a swimsuit, lads. Between these last two pages, Avengers issues 305 through to 310 managed to happen, and that is a lot of stuff to squeeze in between a single page turn. This here leads us into the next West Coast Avengers story arc, where more bad stuff happens to Charlotte Witch. I think this is a great issue. It is as great as the Great Lakes themselves. Are they great? I don't know, I've never seen them. I think these are fun new characters. It is a cute idea, and it allows Hawkeye to continue being a leader of sorts elsewhere, which is the best direction for Jason Byrne's Avengers stuff in the late 80s and early 90s was really good quality comics. Even if you hate the stuff he did with The Vision or Charlotte Witch, the quality of those stories and the storytelling is very high. I will rate this about 7 thumbs up.